Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Kush Wave. Welcome to Handcuff Status Podcast. On today's episode, we will be discussing second chance, what it means, and various forms of injustice in our criminal justice system. We have an exclusive interview with Emily O'Brien from Hamilton, Ontario, the owner of Comeback Snacks. She was arrested at the airport coming back from St. Lucia with a couple of bricks of cocaine. She will be sharing her experience and story with us. Let's get right into it.
Thanks so much for having me.
It is a pleasure to have you, Emily. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I had dance rehearsals this morning. I went to the dentist. Now we're here. Did some work.
Perfect.
It's been a very busy day.
Can I ask you to do me one favor, Emily?
Yes.
Could you move the mic a little bit closer to your lips?
How's that?
Perfect.
Good?
Yeah, because it's like tunnel vision with these mics.
Okay, gotcha.
Before we get into the questions, could you please give us a little background of yourself?
Yeah, so I am the founder of Comeback Snacks Popcorn Company, and I started this in the most unlikely of places, and that was federal prison. So in 2015, I found myself arrested at Pearson International Airport with 2-point-something kilograms cocaine strapped to my body. It was just, I ended up there because it was like a bad environment, bad associates, and bad substances, quite frankly, that landed me on a trip with someone that I knew and trusted, and it kind of turned into this drug smuggling operation, which I failed at miserably. Anyway, ended up in prison, and I knew it was in prison that I could turn things around and really make something good out of it. And popcorn was a popular prison snack. I got super creative with the recipes, and I knew that hiring and finding employment out of prison was going to be really challenging because of all the stigmas that individuals face.
Exactly.
And I was like, I'm going to hire people and create comebacks for people and prove people wrong.
So that's where the name comes from. Comeback.
Yeah.
It comes from getting out of prison and making something of yourself.
Yes, that's correct.
Awesome. Wow. And you started to do this in prison?
I did. Yeah. So I got a 4-year sentence. So I spent 2.5 years on house arrest, and that first 2.5 years, I was so mad. I was so pissed off. I was just mad at the system. I was mad at this guy. I was mad at myself. I was mad at some people for believing that I was like this all along and that I'd been doing this my whole life, and just like discrediting me for all the good things that I'd done in my life. And
oh my God.
And then just painting, they're like, oh, you have this, big black cloud hanging over your head. Like, what are you going to do? And so I was like, what? I spent so much time being mad and angry and wanting revenge, but it didn't put me in a good place. It was like kind of eating me alive. And so one day I was just like, I'm going to make something really good out of this. And ever since I kind of started to change that mindset, I actually kind of planned my prison trip. Yes. I figured out where I was going. I ended up meeting a person by chance that had been there for the same crime, just at a different time. She helped kind of prepare me.
Wow.
And then the idea came from inside bars.
From inside the bars.
Inside those bars.
Goodness, that's amazing. Emily. So how are you doing now?
Really good. Really good. So I started inside prison in 2018 with popcorn kernels and some stamps. And I was $50,000 in debt, full of shame and regret. But I put in a lot of,
$15,000 in debt.
50.
Isn't it 50?
Yeah, from all the legal fees.
That's almost impossible in Canada to get back from.
Yeah, and so I slowly paid off those when I got out, and now, so Comeback Snacks, we started launching in Hamilton when I was living in the halfway house, and now we're actually all across the country.
All across the country?
Coast to coast. We're in over 700 stores, and we're even in big venues like Scotiabank Arena and Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is great. What a success story.
Yeah. And, we've been able to hire numerous individuals along the way. We're still a small organization. So sometimes I think people think we have this factory full of people from prison working. No, that's not how our business model works. We actually use a manufacturing partner. But I have people that have been incarcerated that I work with, and they're on the front lines basically now. So they're at the stores doing demos and talking to customers.
So do you specialize in that, hiring those that were incarcerated?
Yeah, and I love it.
Awesome.
Yeah,
you're doing good work, Emily.
Well, it's I call it emotional profit, money for the soul, and when you can see other people's lives changing, including your own, that's what really keeps you motivated and to keep building, for sure.
Absolutely. All right. So we're gonna do the song of the week, and then we're gonna talk more about your incarceration. Okay.
Let's go.
All right.
Close your eyes. Believe you can do anything you want to do. You can be anything you want to be. This one's called Believe. You can be anything you want to be. If you believe, turn dreams into reality. Shall receive. Chase your dreams. It's all in your mind. The stars are aligned. That's how Christ turned water to wine. That's how Christ turned water to wine. Manifest, meditate, knowledge, faith, now go create. Free game, motivation, from the planet of expansion, inspiration. Close your eyes, believe you can do anything you want to do. You can be anything you want to be. Close your eyes, believe nothing is impossible. You can turn dreams into.
There you go. That's some positivity for you. That was Pivotal and Lamar Ammo Skeet. Believe you could check them out at Pivotal_Entertainment and at Lamar Ammo Skeet on Instagram.
Beautiful. It's awesome.
I like that. It was positive, no?
It's good for this time of day. You know, it's chill, but it's like a nice song.
Yeah.
Good song to unwind to.
It is. Could you run us through the circumstances that led up to your incarceration at the airport?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was 2013, 2014. I had my own like very like boutique social media agency in Liberty Village, and
Oh,
I was
nice.
always kind of into like partying and stuff, but drinking, but like never medicating with it.
Okay.
But something like really shitty happened with my family, and some people told me that, you know, you shouldn't be sad about those things. And when you see people that you love like in just so much pain, it doesn't fucking matter how old you are.
Yeah.
Like you should be allowed to be sad about these things no matter what.
You have emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be allowed to show them.
Yeah. And so, you know, I just had people, especially with the that I was close to telling me, oh, you shouldn't be sad. And so I started medicating pretty much. You know, I was like drinking every day. I got into the cocaine pretty heavy for like a year and a half. But I knew I didn't want to be that. Like, I knew that I wasn't in a good place and I just wasn't motivated, you know. And I met someone actually through my work who was allegedly sober. And, you know, he wanted to help me get on like, I don't say I was on a bad path. I was just on a troubling path.
You're
Trouble.
going downhill.
Yeah. But I wasn't like, I didn't think it was, I just didn't, I knew something needed to change.
Okay.
And so I met this guy through my work and, you know, became pretty close, like not really like intimate, but like just really close. And so I'd known him for 8 or 9 months, and, you know, he's like, why don't we just go on like a trip and, you know, we can get away, have like a sober trip. I was like, I have not been on a sober vacation my entire life. And so I was actually really looking forward to it. And there's like some red flags that I noticed, but like whatever, like everyone has red flags. So I can't be like,
What do you mean red flags?
Sometimes his stories like wouldn't add up. He'd always have like excuses for things. He told me that he was like separated, but then like I kept getting calls from his number saying like he's from his wife, saying he's still married. Like I didn't really know, but I was like, listen, I'm not dating this guy. Like I don't know what the problem is. But I was like, okay, like sure, I'll go on this trip. And he actually came over to my apartment like a week before to ask me this, and something really interesting happened when he visited me at the apartment, because he's like, I want to talk to you about something. And I thought like maybe his phones were, I don't know, his wife or whatever was listening to this call. I don't know. Like,
yeah, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah. And he comes over, he's like, so I just want to ask you, and you're like, you don't have to do it, but if you want to make money on this trip, like, let me know, we can bring drugs back. And I was just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I'd done a lot of traveling in my life, and on volunteer trips and shit. Like after school, I worked in Indonesia, and so I traveled, but I didn't need money like at all. Like I don't even know where this came from. And considering I was trying to get sober, it just came out of left field. And so I was really pissed.
So this is something that he brought to your attention before you guys actually went on the trip?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's major red flag then. You were right. There were some red flags.
Yeah. And then I was like, I actually kicked him out. I was like, can you just leave? Like I was like mad.
Yeah, you got upset.
I was like, who is this person? Like my passport is like my most valuable thing, because it allowed me to like travel brought me so many like beautiful experiences like around the world and living in different cultures with different families. And I was like, how dare you, you know? And so I kicked him out. And then I go out that night. He kind of knows that I go out and have a couple drinks. And he messages me at like 10 o'clock at night when I'm out. And this is like, I'm like in bed by that time these days. But he's like, you know what? I'm such an idiot. I can't even imagine I asked you this. He's like, I'm so sorry. Like, let's just go on this trip. And I swear to God, nothing's going to happen. I promise you. And I was like, you know what? I like really hope it was just this random dumb question. And so I just like believed him.
You give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. And so he's like, okay, well, when you get back, like text me a picture of your passport and then I'll book the tickets.
Also, he booked the tickets.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Awesome.
Well,
not so awesome.
For a few days it was. And so I got back and then didn't even think anything about sending the passport information. This will come into play like later. And so he's like, okay, we're going to leave in like 3 days. I'm like, okay, that's kind of soon, but okay, whatever. Screw it. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get out of the city and just kind of clear my head. So 3 days into this trip, you know, it's all fun, all games. He's actually drinking on this trip, which is weird, but I'm like, fuck it. You're drinking, I'm drinking. I don't care.
Oh, he's not a drinker.
Huh?
He's not a drinker.
He wasn't. Yeah, he was sober. He allegedly went through all this journey that like I was kind of going through at the time, and he had kind of recovered.
He's already rehabilitated.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Yes. And he's like getting drugs off people on the beach, and it's the third day, and he's like crushing drinks by like 10 a.m. And then I was like about to go down to the pool at like 12 or something because I usually go down to the pool. And he's like, "You're not going down to the pool today." He looks at me with these like glazy eyes, like he didn't have a soul. He's like, "You're not going down to the pool today. Did you really think this is all fun and games?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "We're here to work." And I thought maybe we were going to go like fucking volunteer or something. Like, I don't know. What do you mean work? And so he's like, "You have to get in the car with me in 15 minutes. And like, that's when I saw this looking in where I was just scared, you know?
Wow, he switched it on you.
Completely different person. Yeah, completely different. So he's a really good actor. I'll give him that. Me, not so much.
Wow.
Anyway,
so 15 minutes passes. Did you get in the car?
Yeah. I mean, I had nothing else to do. Like,
were you guys on a resort?
Yeah, we're on a resort.
And it's just you and him.
Yeah. And then I'm also getting messages from his wife. So for some reason she knows. Like, so now I'm just like, what is this fucking conspiracy? Like, what's going on?
So what does the wife know?
I don't know. I was like, why am I getting messages from her? And he's like, I don't know. Like, just playing dumb.
So she knew that you guys were on the vacation together?
Yeah. Yeah. She's
Did
like,
she
he
know
has
that
to call me, blah, blah, blah.
Did she know that he was trying to bring back narcotics?
I don't know anything. Like, I'll never really know what communication they really had, to be honest, because everything that he told me was a lie. So I can guess,
right.
but...
You're right.
Lord, if I know.
Wow. So you get in the car, which is terrified. It's like some Pablo stuff.
Yeah, I actually
in the car
wasn't
now.
Not scared at this point. I was kind of just like in this haze. Like, you know
like
what?
Confusion?
Yeah. And you know, like when you think you're in danger, like you'll look for any signs. You're like, okay, like if I need to escape this sign, and oh, there's that landmark. I didn't look at any of those. I was like, okay, this has to be like, I just wasn't nervous. I was like, okay, like what's happening? And then I get taken to this house, and like this older lady comes out with there's no like rabid dogs or like people like, you know, people sitting on like thrones with chain. Like, you know how you see in the movies, and it's like
there's nothing like that.
Kingpins and shit. No, it wasn't like that. It was like a lady and like her family and some other two gentlemen, and it was like a bed and breakfast. It looked like a bed and breakfast. But then I get inside, and there's like bricks and bricks, and the lady comes up to me, and she's like, "Yeah, thanks so much for doing
like
this."
All the bricks were in there?
Yeah.
In this just like old lady's house?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Like how many bricks?
Like at least 100.
It was going to the ceiling?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It was like a shelf. It was 2 shelves.
So now
like
you're
each
scared.
shelf had like stacks on it.
You're scared now.
I'm just like pissed. I'm like, what the fuck? Because that's
You're
what I knew.
brave. You're pissed off? You're not scared?
No, because like she's like, thanks so much for doing this. I guess he was in a lot of debt. And when he booked the tickets, he sent my passport information to these people and said we were both bringing drugs back to cover whatever debt that he had. So they already had all my info. So I'm like, I don't want to mess with these people. And I looked at him, and then he's just like, I'm so sorry. But it's like was so in over his head. And at that point, I just wanted to go home. And like There's so many people that are like, oh, you should have done this, should have done this. You know how much corruption there is, like, everywhere regarding these
No,
situations?
there is.
Like, I'm in a house in the middle of
With
nowhere
100 bricks.
in St. Lucia. Like, no one is coming to fucking save me. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, no.
That's
poor
what I was
me.
going to ask you. I was like, when you're driving by and looking for signs, I was like, would you even be able to find the sign?
And, like, trying to get out, like, you don't know who's in on it. Like, he told me that everyone in the process knew, like, everyone at the airport. I don't know if that's true. I don't want to place allegations.
So, like, in your words, like, do you honestly feel like you could have refused taking the bricks? Like,
Not when because he booked the tickets, and then when they told me that they had my passport information, my home address on it, all my information, I wasn't about to risk
so
that.
that's what you said. That's gonna play out. It's gonna play back
Yes.
later.
Yeah, that's what I knew.
So
They had me, like,
you. Yeah.
and I was like, you know what? I just want to go home at this point. So the last 3 days of the trip. So this is on the Wednesday. And the last 3 days of the trip are just like absolute hell. Like, I just like leave the resort. I'm going out like by myself to karaoke bars, just getting wasted, singing karaoke, like trying to cope in the most bizarre ways. And so yeah, at this point, like, I'm like in, like, pretty much have to do it to
So
go
you're
home.
at the karaoke bar knowing that there's bricks upstairs in the suitcase.
No, so they on the Wednesday they were there, and I had to take my measurements because they had made me like a set of like cycling shorts, like the spandex shorts.
Oh wow.
The kangaroo pouch in them, one in the front, one in the back, like special smuggling shorts, and he's doing it too. So the Wednesday was like to get like tailored for this smuggling operation.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for smugglers. That's what I call them.
Wow. All right. So you were getting tailored, and you're getting these special smuggling shorts.
Yeah. And so like after we get back to, so they drop us back off at the hotel because they're not going to leave us with like cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
And so they pick us. So the last 3 days are just absolute hell. And I was like, I'm a terrible liar. I'm not going to be able to do this. I don't know why you're like basically forcing me to do this. He's like, oh, I've done it before. You know, it's so easy. My ex-wife has done it. Like just trying to convince me that this was an okay thing to do. And I still wasn't having it. But he's like, you know, they have your information. You know, they have this, like, just like warning me basically. And, and so finally, after like pleading with him, I was like, can you just like take these at the airport when we land? Like, just take them off me because I can't look at a federal agent in the face with this on my body at all. Like, I'm going to fail. Like, I'm not going to sabotage.
You're not a good liar. You told him this a million times.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's like, okay, once we land at Pearson, you can take them off, put them in your backpack, and give me the backpack.
Okay, so then let me ask you this. Is that why you kind of trusted Noah, even though he lied and there was a lot of red flags, because he gave you that assurance that he's going to take it from you as soon as you guys land?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, he's like, we're already in it. Blah,
I get
blah.
it. I get it.
And so on the Friday, we get picked up, we go through security, you know, nothing happens, take off, land. And this is like the longest.
So you go straight to St. Lucia, no problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So you see, they're probably on it, like what you were saying. I mean, there's 100 bricks to the ceiling, so somebody has to be on
it. Yeah. Yeah. Longest and shortest plane ride of my life. I think it was like 4 hours, but it was like, I don't really remember it because I was just clammy, you know. And I was sober this whole time, you know, because we left early on the Friday morning. It was like a morning flight or early morning flight.
So it's 4 hours from there back here, right?
From St. Lucia to Canada.
Oh,
yeah.
So that must have been the longest 4 hours of your life.
You know, I was like, you know, like trying to order like a sandwich to make myself look normal, and I like couldn't even eat it. And we land at Pearson, and I'm like, okay, fuck, like finally we're here. And I go to the bath. I'm starting to go to the bathroom. He's like, are you kidding? It's way too late now. So he bait and switched me fucking again. And then
now you must be really panicking.
Now I'm pissed. Now I'm like, I'm so done. But again, I'm not going to sabotage this operation on my own because they're not my drugs.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like, help me. And then he'll be like, it was her fault.
Yeah.
So now I'm doing my best now that I've been fucked over. Like, obviously, you know, I was hell of my own making in a way. But walking through the security, and you go through the first checkpoint, and, you know, they give you that little, and I'm walking behind him because I'm mad, you know, like I'm just like trying to just get through it. And then you have to go through a second one, and he doesn't even see the second checkpoint. Like all he sees is like the people holding the signs, you know, welcome home, blah, blah, blah. And you can see the cars kind of, and then there's one last officer you have to give those papers to with the number on it. And then they're like, you got to go to the right. And it's like, I knew it. I knew this was going to happen. And you could tell now he's panicked because he didn't think this was going to happen at all. He was just thought it was going to be so smooth.
Yeah.
And,
well, he
you
said
know.
he's done it before, so.
Yeah. So they immediately separate us and ask us a bunch of questions. And finally, the last question they asked me was like, Emily, we're going to search you, physically search you. So is there anything that you want to declare? And I looked down at the floor for what seemed like an eternity. And I guess I was staring at the floor for so long, they had to repeat the question. And then that's when I was like, I'm done protecting this guy. And I'm not going to lie to a federal agent because they already know.
Well, they already sent you where.
So I just said yes. And I was like, yeah, can you get them off me? And they tested them. And then I was arrested formally by the RCMP.
Hmm.
I had no idea like how big of a deal this was. You know, I wasn't trained in this field. I wasn't planning for this to happen. So like, I didn't know the seriousness of, like, I honestly thought I was just gonna be able to go home.
You honestly thought that you were just gonna go home?
I don't know, do community service or something. Like, I don't know. Like I was
because in your
ignorant.
heart, it wasn't you trying to do this. I guess that's why you felt like that. But
yeah.
Canada's justice system is not set up like, it's not set up for those that just tell the truth like that. You don't just go.
Well, I ended up getting the minute, like that actually did save me, like help me a lot in the courts. Like I got like a minimum sentence because I like pled guilty very early. I answered the questions truthfully at the airport, and then I also pled guilty when charged very early on in the court case. So those two things.
So you didn't drag out the case.
No.
Okay.
So that also helped, but I still got 4 years. So.
You still got 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how much did he get?
The same. So
he said he had it too then.
Yeah, he had, because we were traveling together.
So he never lied. He never lied about having it either.
Yeah. Yeah, like once I said yes, they arrested me, then they immediately arrested him, too.
But did he was he as foretelling as you? Like, did he say yes? I have them in my special.
I don't know. Like, I was just like, I knew that I'm getting searched, so I might as well just own up to it now.
Oh, okay.
So
when you guys went to court, when you said yes, they were mine, he said yes, they were his as well.
Yeah. Our cases were separated. That's like one thing that my lawyer did, because if we were tried together, I would have had to like potentially go. I might have had to like, if I took it to trial, I would have to like go on the stand, and I didn't want to like do that because if it's a fucking international drug trade, I'm not going on the fucking stand.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense. You don't want anything to do with those guys.
Yeah.
And
then also, because we were tried separately, the amount of drugs was less. Because if we were tried together, it would have been double what I had. So it would have been like 5-something kilos, and that would be more jail time.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to stop at the 5 kilos more jail time. And we're going to shout out our sponsors for the day. We would like to take the time to shout out Coily Love. You can order your natural hair products from her from Coily_love on Instagram or at Coily Love on Snapchat. So you didn't bring any of the popcorn?
No, I forgot.
Oh my goodness.
Well, maybe we can superimpose it.
All right, we'll try. We'll try our best.
Video editors. We can add a little graphic.
Okay, no, we'll try our best. We'll see what we could do. All right, so what did your family and friends think when they first heard this?
Honestly, they were, first and foremost, like, they were happy that I was okay, but they were obviously really disappointed, absolutely, and horrified. Like, they're glad, that nothing happened to me, nothing violent, like, so no one grabbed me, like, I had no...
You had no, like...
Physical
yes.
harm done to me.
Yes. And I mean, it was very scary, so I'm happy that nothing happened to you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Anything could have happened.
Yeah, especially if I, didn't want, like, did something bad or try to, you know what I mean? Like, I just wanted to get out the safest way. Yeah, so, wait, what was the question? My family.
Yeah, your family and friends.
So I'll never forget, like, the look that my parents had to come bail me out. And they were going to, because, they love me. And that was something that I'll always appreciate. That I realized that I did have that very strong family bond. It was very shattered at that point. Obviously my parents were in the middle of a separation. They didn't want to really talk to each other, but they came together for me. And like, just look at my mom's face when she saw me like being walked out into the courtroom, shackled hand to foot.
Oh my goodness.
Was just like, you could tell she was just like all the color like drained from her face. Like I'll never forget that look.
It just hurt her so much to see you like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, that was like that was really rough. And then I kind of, they knew that I had my issues with substances. This wasn't kind of the first thing. This is kind of just the culmination of also a problematic relationship with alcohol and drugs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, that was another thing that I really took to heart and realized that this was it. Like, time's up.
Yeah, no more.
Yeah.
Comeback snacks.
Yeah.
I love that name.
Thank you. Me
Yeah.
too.
So, how did the environment in prison affect your mental health during your incarceration?
Well, I knew it was prison. So I knew that it was going to be challenging, but I also saw it as, if this can happen to me, like I wasn't afraid of violence because I knew I wasn't a violent person. And I knew that there's violence everywhere in the world, not just in prison. Obviously, I know it's a very different world, but I saw it as just going to another country with its own populations, its own rules, its own economy, its own language. And because I'd been to like so many different places in the world, like I've lived
You just
in, like,
adapted.
yeah. Yeah. And like, I didn't like, there's only like a couple things that could really get you into trouble in prison. And that's like the crime that you did. Right. And if you get involved in other people's business and if you have debts to other people in prison, like that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Or if you've been like a rat. And I was none of those things. Like my charge was very basic.
Yeah. Basic.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it wasn't something that generated negative
Problems.
attention.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like someone that would be
Like
like
sex offender
a
or something.
rapist or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or someone that, went to trial and ratted out. So like,
A rat. Yeah, a rat.
yeah. So I actually met a lot of friends in there. I was kind of like accidentally the class clown just because people were just like, what are you doing here? And, but I was able to kind of, after like recognizing the seriousness of it and realizing that I did have to put in a lot of work in repairing the relationships that I harmed, I knew that I was always a cheerful person. Like I always was able to laugh at things. And so having that ability to kind of laugh just at the stupid things that would happen, like visits got canceled because there was too many tumbleweeds. Like it was too windy.
Yeah.
One day to have visits.
Are
Windy.
you serious?
Yeah, these
Like,
guys
that
are
was
in prison and they're scared of the wind.
Oh my goodness.
And just some of like the ridiculous rules and
You have to laugh at it instead of making it drive you crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Laughing works.
yeah. It's great. And it also pissed off the guards. They're like, you shouldn't smile in your mugshot. And I'm like, I'm gonna go through this my own way, not yours. Like
Yeah,
listen up
you're
to
doing
them.
your time.
Yeah, exactly. And I was able to hear so many different stories from different walks of life. And it made me really grateful for the support that I had. Like my parents came to visit me. I had like all these friends come to visit, real friends, because obviously when I lived in Toronto, I didn't have a lot of real friends. I had party friends. Whatever.
Yeah.
Not a single person from Toronto visited me. All the people from my hometown did. And so that really helped shine a light on
Wow.
who my real
Yeah.
friends were.
Who actually cares about you?
Yeah. And who have continued to support, not just like me, like emotionally, but like, physically. And like, when I came out, people would be like, all right, let's do the sober thing. Like, just keep me on that train. Right. And choosing healthy stuff. And these were friends that I'd partied with before too, but they're like, no, like, like, let's go for
We're turning a
a
new
hike
leaf.
or something. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
So you said you met a lot of different people and people from different walks of life.
Yeah.
Do you think you were treated differently from inmates of color?
I don't know. Like no one really talked about that. Like there were situations, I think, but as an individual, I think the guards where I was. I mean, I was in a medium and minimum facility, so like everyone was we weren't really violent, so there wasn't a lot of
No one was trying to go to a
behaviors.
max.
Yeah.
Everyone's behaving themselves.
Yeah.
But the guards were like, they weren't picking on like the natives or.
Not that I saw. No, but that was just my personal experience.
Yeah, obviously.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's things that definitely have happened.
And which jail did you stay at?
So I love you said stay. I was like, hotel. I was kidding. Do you enjoy your stay?
I'm so sorry.
But that's kind of how I turned it in. I turned it into like a rehab for myself, a school, and like a sabbatical. Like I made it all those things that year. That's how I reframed prison.
What did you learn in there?
I read 82 books. That's how I started Comeback Snacks. I like self-educated myself
Wow.
and built a business plan from inside out.
From inside out.
Yeah.
And you've never taken anything business otherwise?
No, I knew that I was good at marketing because I always had like a lot of marketing jobs. And also like my degree was international development, so I like learned how to build programs and stuff like that as well for different kinds of communities and everything. So I knew that I wanted to build a social enterprise, and that
Yes.
was with the element of hiring people with records. And now as we've like grown, but not as much as like I want to hire more people, I'm actually building something called the Comeback Program right now. And hopefully it's going
Nice.
to be fully funded from a grant that I can teach. It's like basically how to get from prison to back on your feet, whether it's like, you know, because you want to get a job or like take the entrepreneurial route. I want to really scale that impact. So that's kind of what I'm doing.
That is great.
Was working on it today. I have a meeting tomorrow with a potential
Oh, yeah.
donor.
So the proposal is done and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really good news. And tomorrow you have your big meeting.
Yeah. That's it.
Hopefully everything goes through.
Yeah. And then I can take it, you know, across the country. I can get like a Comeback Snacks paddy wagon and make it look like a police and drive across the country.
Would you do that?
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to drive to Sault Ste. Marie or any of
I
those.
love
places.
Sault Ste. Marie. That's where I got my dog.
That 8-hour drive is,
Yeah. It's nice though. It's on the water.
oh my goodness.
And I like to adventure, right? Like the more that you can meet people in person,
Mhm.
it's so great. And that's why like I'm really invested in going to these places. I was in Vancouver Island like last week because we launched in 106 stores out there, and just like, and a lot of the clerks that worked at these gas stations where they sold the product, they'd like done time. And so we were just shooting the shit, talking about life. And so it was great.
It's amazing how you were able to stay so positive and up tempo while you were incarcerated. But I'm sure there were like months where you felt hopeless or
Yeah.
down because of your circumstances.
And that was honestly on house arrest. That was like the worst. It was a good year because I wasn't allowed to talk about the case because that's what my lawyers say, don't talk about the case. So I'm not allowed to talk to anybody. I'm living in a huge paranoia because I just lost X number of dollar value of someone's drugs.
Oh my gosh.
And they know where like I didn't really know that what I had in retrospect to like the average amount that's actually smuggled through professionally, it was like nothing. Like professionals smuggling like 15 kilos at a time. So sometimes they'll have like inexperienced people and flag them. Like they'll call airport. So like it's a distraction.
Oh.
So it's like really just a cost of doing business. So they weren't going to do anything for the amount that I had, and cause attention and like raise attention. And, but those months on like the year and a half, 2.5 years on house arrest, the first year I was really angry and really agitated, and we got in, like a lot of fights with the lawyer. You know, I'd walked out of meetings with the lawyer. Really tumultuous relationship with my father, which now we're great. But it wasn't actually until I was just pissed. I had to get handwritten notes, and I was like, I hate the fact that you think of me as this person on paper, and like I'm not that person. But one day I just had it, and I like went out to get cigarettes, took my car, went out to get cigarettes, and we live near like a university campus, like my mom does.
So the cops are like always patrolling.
And it was Frosh week. So you
Oh my
bet they were
gosh.
out patrolling, and scanned my plates, and boom, I got arrested. So breached my bail, had to go back in jail for another night. My mom came to the courtroom the next day, bailed me out, another $1,000. And we have this thing, I don't know if you like the Canadian bail system. It's like you don't actually have to give cash. It's not cash bail. It's like you have to like prove you have assets.
Yes.
So they even like put up some of their house.
That's
Like-
usually how it goes.
Yeah. So they're freaking out because they're thinking they're going to lose their house.
Yeah, for $1,000.
Yeah. Yeah. And so then I talked to my lawyer. He's like, Emily, like, we know this is frustrating. We know this isn't you. But if you like break these rules again, they're not going to let you out. And it's going to be really hard to get you to get this kind of resolved in the best way possible. And so that's kind of was like my turning point. I was like, fuck this. Stop hurting your family. Just take responsibility. Stop blaming other people. Stop wanting revenge. Because I was like, I want to kill someone. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I was surrounding myself with people that kind of helped support that goal of like getting revenge. And then I was like, I'm not that person. Like, I'm not fucking violent. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and so that's, I was like, no, like this is the day, the next day. And then that's kind of, I started I was like allowed to go to work. And because I had a social media company, my work took me to a lot of different places. And so I kind of started to reach out to potential clients that I could go to. So I got a gym as a customer. So then I was able to go work out at the gym, and I would
Oh,
work.
wow.
Yeah.
So now you're being strategic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, like driving to work so paranoid because you don't know like I looked at my rear view like probably more than I looked
You're
forward.
driving with your eyes behind,
I'm like,
more than in front of you.
And I have staff, and I didn't really want to tell them at that, like, you know what I mean? So it was just
It's embarrassing.
whole like hold on me
Mm-hmm.
for a long time. And that's when, after that day, I was like, I'm ready to go, and started planning. And I met someone because every month, my social media company, we'd choose like an organization to help out for free. And I met this company called Clink Coffee, get this, at this entrepreneurship event. And they kind of were a coffee company that supported hiring of formerly incarcerated. And who works there other than someone that's actually been to Grand Valley for the same crime as me?
Wow.
And so I was like, this is perfect. I'm going to help you guys with social media. And then I didn't actually end up telling her till later that I was actually going to prison, but like she really helped a lot. So it's kind of it was a godsend. So I was
That
able
is
to
great.
able
So
to
everything
prepare.
all the dotted lines just connected at the right time for you.
And and it just goes to show, like, put an effort into helping other people, and then like good things will come. Like, just don't even
You
ask
reap
for
what you
something.
sow, right?
What's that?
You reap what you sow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like, don't expect anything in return, and then sometimes like things like this will happen, right?
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Were you provided with access to counseling or therapy to help you cope with the stress and trauma when you were when you're in the institution?
They have like the programs like that in prison, but like honestly, my therapy was like my other inmates and my exercise. That was it. Like because a lot of people don't want to utilize the services because if it gets put in your paperwork, sometimes they're gonna phrase it as like you being like psycho. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, yeah?
paperwork written in prison is like, you can't trust it. You can't trust accessing those services. So I like
Really?
went to AA and NA, like, and also because they had free cookies that they would give out. So I'd be like, oh,
And then they'll put down like you have like mental health issues or something?
yeah. And so like, and that might impact your parole. So a lot of people you don't want to use it.
Wow. I
Yeah.
never knew that.
It might be different now. I don't really know what they have now, but like definitely it was my exercise and then building the business, writing, like because I kept like a journal and
Oh, that's great.
yeah, and then just talking to other people and cooking, making popcorn.
Making popcorn.
making
Here we
popcorn.
come back.
That's it, my friend.
That's awesome. It's good. It's a good thing that you're able to self-medicate yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and self-support but also that community of the community that we had in there was really a source of strength for a lot
It
of
seems like you had like a good group of people around you.
Yeah, I
at
mean
that time.
there's drama, sure, but like you just don't really get involved in it. You don't try to put your nose into shit that's not your business. And I don't know, sometimes I would make people laugh and I had no idea why. And like so it became like a good family for sure.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you have to do to live well with people,
Yeah.
right?
No, for sure.
Can you share your thoughts on the importance of second chances for those who have been incarcerated?
Absolutely. I mean, it's crucial. It's crucial to support those that have been incarcerated because if you don't give people a chance, it's just going to repeat the cycle of incarceration.
Exactly.
And when I was in prison, I met so many talented people, like they were so gifted in so many different ways.
Really?
Like I met like artists and, actual people that were really good therapists and chefs and mothers and creatives,
Yes.
right? And I was like, there is so much untapped and ignored talent that employers are missing out on by not hiring people coming out of incarceration. And once people have like, a good place to live, because obviously you need to have like a little bit of stability in order to be successful at a job.
Mhm.
So, you kind of have to do like your addiction work if you need it. And you have to make sure you have like a safe place to live. But once you have that, you can do so well at jobs. And there was actually a report that was put out by the John Howard Society.
Oh, yeah?
And it did a survey of employers who hired people with records and people without records.
Yes.
And the people with records performed just as well, or if not better, than those without records.
There you have it. They already have the statistics.
Yes. That's
Hire
right.
these guys. Give them a chance.
And like so like reliable, like, and I work with people that I went to prison with in 2018 still, and I'm still connected to people from that time, and just seeing us all grow as a unit and putting belief and trust in people is great. And then you're going to build a really strong, like we've built a really strong company that empowers people and also sets a good example to other employers that this is not just the right thing to do. This actually can be a good business decision for your business.
Yeah.
Right?
No, you're right.
Yeah.
And they just have to give them like what we're saying, a second chance. That's
Or
really
a
what
first chance for a lot of
or
people.
even for a lot of them, even a first chance. Yes.
Yeah.
Because some of them never got a chance to begin with.
Yeah, exactly.
You're absolutely right. Is there anything that you would like to say?
I just want to say thank you so much for having me on. And if you have been incarcerated or you're facing charges, there is a path forward, and hopefully my story will help. And that's why, we're here. We're sharing stories of growth and rebuilding after bars, after the bars. That's why it's called Handcuff Status, but handcuffs unleashed, baby.
I love that. Could you please give us one of your signatures?
I will, absolutely. Okay, here we go. There we go. And it's comeback snacks. Popcorn so good it's criminal.
Perfect. I wish I had some of those comebacks popcorn snacks right
I
now.
will ship you some.
Please.
That's my bad.
All right. We would like to take the time to thank Emily O'Brien for coming out and sharing her story with us today. For all those who are incarcerated, remember freedom is a must. Free all the lifers. Shout out Private Spaceship. Thank you for all watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow, please. It makes a difference. At Handcuff Status Inc. on all major platforms. If you have any questions, any suggestions, send it to us, please. Never forget the real mission. We're breaking the chains of injustice. Thank you.